Hi, welcome to ASP.NET Video Part 2. Let's see Introduction for ASP.NET. ASP.NET is a unified web development model that includes the services necessary for you to build enterprise-class web applications with a minimum of coding. ASP.NET is part of the .NET framework, and when coding ASP.NET applications you have access to classes in the .NET framework. You can code your applications in any language compatible with the Common Language Runtime (CLR), including Microsoft Visual Basic and C#. These languages enable you to develop ASP.NET applications that benefit from the Common Language Runtime, type safety, inheritance, and so on. It is a Microsoft server-side web technology. ASP.NET takes an object-oriented programming approach to web page execution. Every element in an ASP.NET page is treated as an object and run on the server. An ASP.NET page gets compiled into an intermediate language by a .NET Common Language Runtime compliant compiler. Then a JIT compiler turns the intermediate code to native machine code, and that machine code is eventually run on the processor. Because the code is run straight from the processor, pages load much faster than classic ASP pages, where embedded 5B script or JScript had to be continuously interpreted and cached. ASP.NET is used to create web pages and web services, and is an integral part of Microsoft's .NET Vision. Now let's see the introduction to web forms. ASP.NET Web Forms is a part of the ASP.NET Web Application Framework, and is included with Visual Studio. It is one of the 4 programming models you can use to create ASP.NET web applications. The others are ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Web Pages, and ASP.NET Single-Page Applications. Web forms are pages that your users request using their browser. These pages can be written using a combination of HTML, client script, server controls, and server code. When users request a page, it is compiled and executed on the server by the framework, and then the framework generates the HTML markup that the browser can render. An ASP.NET Web Forms page presents information to the user in any browser or client device. Using Visual Studio, you can create ASP.NET Web Forms. The Visual Studio Integrated Development Environment IDE lets you drag and drop server controls to lay out your web forms page. You can then easily set properties, methods, and events for controls on the page or for the page itself. These properties, methods, and events are used to define the web page's behavior, look and feel, and so on. To write server code to handle the logic for the page, you can use a .NET language like Visual Basic or C#. Example, create a web form using Visual Studio. Go to Visual Studio, go to File, New, Website. A window will open, and from that window, from left side select language C#. Select ASP Empty Website. Give a name to website. Suppose I am giving First Demo App. A web application is created like this. The website is shown in the Solution Explorer at the right side. The Solution Explorer contains the root directory of the website. Now right-click on the project, go to Add, click on Web Form. Name the web form as default. A new web form, nothing but a new ASPX page, is created to the project. Open the default.aspx page, it appears like shown like this. This page is same look like HTML page, and this page is called the designer page. Let's see the items in the page one by one. At the top of the page, page directive is present. A directive is a special instruction on how ASP.NET should process the page. The most common directive is page tag, which can specify many attributes used by the ASP.NET page parser and compiler. The above page tag is placed at the beginning of the ASPX file. The code file property of the page directive specifies the file .cs or .vb acting as the code behind, while the inherits property specifies the class from which the page is derived. In this example, the page directive is included in default.aspx, then default.aspx.csx, as the code behind for this page. To see code behind file, just right-click on page, and select View Code. This is the code behind file. We can discuss about this later. Now, it's time to add some elements to the web form. Add an HTML tag h2, and ASP tag label to page. The ASP tags are given like this: ASP, element name. Here label tag we are using, so we are given ASP, label. Run at equal to server is the tag compulsory given to the ASP elements, because all ASP tags are server tags. Save the project. Build it once. Click on Build or press F6. Click on Run symbol or press F5 to run and see what the output we get. Now, let's see what is the use of viewState in ASP.NET. HTTP is a stateless protocol. It does not retain its state between requests. Web form state is very small, because web form lifetime is equal to request lifetime. Process of web form is instance created for web form. Processing events of web form. Output rendered as HTML to client. Web form loses its state. This is how web form cycle is going on. See this with an example. Add a web form to our website. Name the form as viewState demo. Add a text box and button to the page. Name the text box as txt count, and name the button as btn count. Click on Source Page, and double-click on the button. By double-click on the button, a click event is added to the code. Our aim is to increment the text box value by clicking on button. So we declare a variable integer count equal to 0. In the page load event, assign txt count value equal to 0 when not equal to postback. Not equal to postback means when the page is first time load. And in the button event, increment count equal to count plus 1. And assign back to the text box. Build the website, and run it to see the result. In the output web page, we see that a text box and button appeared. and the text boxes get a value 0. Because when the page's first time loads we assign a 0 to text box and not equal to post back condition. Now, click on button. By clicking on button first time the value is incremented to 1. By clicking on second time see the value is not incremented, because the web page is lost its state. That means the page is not maintaining its state. From the result we can see that the web server does not maintain its state between the requests. By using viewState variable in ASP.NET, we can maintain the state of web form between the requests. Let's do some changes to code file of viewState demo. Change integer count value to 1. There is no change in page load event. In the button click event, store the value of count in the viewState object. ViewState variable is of type object. It stores anything into it. If ViewState count not equal to null, then count variable get the ViewState value by increment to 1. Finally assign count value to text box and ViewState to store. Now build the website and run to see the output. Now, click on the button and see. The value is incrementing by clicking on button. Because the state of variable is maintaining by using ViewState object. Let's see the output page source. The ViewState value stores in web server in the form of hidden field, between the requests. See the page source above. The value is encoded in to base64 format and stored in web server. When the user clicks the button second time to increment, the value in text box save in ViewState within server, and retrieve the value from ViewState in event and increment happens. Between the request and response the web form performs several events called page lifecycle events like init, page render, etc. Pre-init event. This event happens before page load. In this event the ViewState restoration happens, that is from hidden field the data populate to the variables. Note, all ASP controls like text box, labels, drop-down lists etc. are by default use the ViewState. Thank you. In the next video we will see ASP page lifecycle events.